Welcome to Sullivan. Take a breath, slow down, and let design remind you how peace feels. In a world that never stops speaking, there are still places where silence has weight and water remembers how to sing. Today we step into 7 tiny tropical oases, each one carved from no more than a few square meters, yet vast enough to hold an entire day's worth of calm. These are not grand landscapes. They are intimate conversations between stone, leaf, and light. Sculptural rocks rise like ancient guardians, water moves in quiet rhythms, and every plant is chosen not for show, but for the way it softens the air. These 7 secrets are for anyone who has ever longed to come home and feel the day's noise dissolve the moment the gate closes. They require almost no upkeep, fit behind the smallest suburban house, and most importantly, they give back more peace than they ever ask of you. A single weathered boulder sits at the heart of the garden, split just enough for water to slip through its core and fall in a thread-thin veil. You hear it before you see it, a sound so delicate it feels like the garden itself is breathing. In the morning, the sheet of water catches the first light and turns silver. By dusk, it glows amber against the stone. Ferns and moss tuck into every crevice, softening the rock's severity until it feels less like sculpture and more like something the earth exhaled. This is for the days when words feel too heavy. You sit on the small timber bench hidden in the corner, close your eyes, and let the cascade speak for you. 10 minutes here, and the shoulders drop, the breath lengthens, the mind remembers is allowed to be quiet. A tiny space, yes, but it holds the hush of an entire rainforest. At night, this corner becomes pure reflection. A shallow, black-lined pond no wider than a dining table lies perfectly still, cradled by 3 smooth river stones that rise like small islands. During the day, elephant ears and ginger cast shifting shadows across the water. When darkness falls, the surface turns into a second sky. One low lantern hidden behind the largest stone spills just enough gold to make the water glow without breaking its mirror. You come here when the house feels too full of thoughts. The stillness is so complete that even the crickets seem to lower their voices. Sit on the edge, trail your fingers through the cool surface, and watch the day's worries fragment and sink. What is left is only the moon, the stones, and the soft pulse of your own heart finding its older, slower rhythm. Behind a curtain of hanging heliconia and bird's nest ferns lies a pocket just large enough for one person and one breath. Two sculptural boulders lean together to form a natural alcove. Between them, a slice of reclaimed teak becomes a seat warmed by the afternoon sun. Water trickles from a bamboo spout into a tiny basin at your feet. Not a fountain, but a gentle pour that keeps the air cool and the moss emerald. This is the place you escape to when the world asks too much. The entrance is deliberately narrow. The moment you duck inside, the garden disappears and only texture remains. Rough stone against your back, damp moss under your fingertips, the faint scent of wet earth and lime leaves. Time stretches. 5 minutes feels like 50. You emerge softer, as if the stones have taken the weight you carried. Against a bare wall, 5 staggered limestone shelves create a living waterfall no wider than an arm's length. Water steps gently from one shelf to the next, gathering in tiny pools where baby tears and creeping figs spill over the edges like green lace. The sound is layered, a soft patter at the top, a deeper note where it lands in the basin below, the acoustic equivalent of a sigh that keeps exhaling. Morning light slides across the shelves and turns every droplet into a prism. By late afternoon, the wall is in shade, and the water becomes a cool blue thread against warm stone. Stand close, and the mist kisses your face. Step back, and the entire feature reads as quiet sculpture. Either way, the nervous system registers one clear message: slow. A narrow channel of river rock guides water along the edge of the path, lit from beneath by 3 submerged copper lanterns. During daylight, the stream is almost invisible, just a gleam between stones and the quiet music of moving water. At twilight, the lanterns wake up, turning the current into liquid gold that flows between palms and monstera like a secret river. You walk the path barefoot after dinner, letting the cool stone and warmer water alternate under your soles. The lanterns are spaced so that light and shadow trade places with every step, a gentle reminder that nothing is ever as fixed as it seems. By the time you reach the end of the stream, whatever you were carrying has been washed downstream, leaving only the soft glow and the feeling of being exactly where you were supposed to be. One massive, smooth boulder cantilevers over a small clearing, creating a natural roof. Water drips from its underside in slow, measured drops that land in a shallow stone bowl. Plink, 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 the sound of a clock that measures peace instead of minutes. Vines and air plants have claimed the boulder's surface, draping soft green curtains that sway when a breeze moves through. This is the space that teaches surrender. You lie beneath the rock on a simple mat, watching droplets form and fall, each one catching the light for a fraction of a second before it disappears. Thoughts come and go the same way, noticed, briefly illuminated, then released. There is nothing to do here except receive what the garden is already giving. Before the world wakes, this is where you begin. A rectangular basin of dark stone sits flush with the ground, surrounded by low mounds of sculptural granite and dwarf palms. The water is so still it becomes a perfect mirror for the sky. At first light, the surface turns rose and peach. Clouds drift across it as if the garden itself is dreaming. You bring your coffee here while everything is still cool and quiet. The only movement is the slow shift of color in the water and the occasional ripple when a dragonfly touches down. In this moment, the boundary between inside and outside dissolves. You are not looking at beauty, you are inside it. The day can demand whatever it wants later. It will have to wait its turn. A single standing stone, taller than you, rises from a bed of moss and pebble. Water seeps from an almost invisible crack near the top and runs down the face in a paper-thin sheet, feeding the velvet moss that clothes the rock like living fabric. In sunlight, the moss glows emerald. In shade, it deepens to forest. Touch it, and your hand comes away cool and damp. Stand close, and the stone's surface fills your vision. Texture upon texture, life growing directly from something that has stood for centuries before you were born. The message is gentle but unmistakable. Strength and softness are not opposites. Some days you simply lean your forehead against the moss and let the stone hold whatever you no longer need to carry. In the smallest corner of the garden, three sounds meet: a trickle, a drip, and a soft pour. A tall bamboo spout releases water into a mid-level bowl that overflows into a lower basin, while a hidden spring keeps a third tiny pool constantly brimming. The harmony of rhythms is hypnotic, like listening to three heartbeats slowly fall into the same cadence as your own. Palms arch overhead, filtering light into dappled coins that dance across the water. There's barely room for a single chair, but that is the point. This corner was never meant for entertaining. It was carved for the quiet moments when you need to remember that everything moves, everything returns, everything is enough. Seven low, rounded boulders form an imperfect circle around a shallow depression filled with water no deeper than your ankle. In the center, a single larger stone rises just above the surface, an island for thought. Rainwater and a discreet recirculating pump keep the pool alive. Tiny fish flicker beneath lily pads the size of saucers. Step inside the circle, and the world falls away. The stones are spaced so that you can sit on any one and feel held from every direction. Water reflects sky and leaf onto the surrounding rocks, turning solid stone into liquid light. This is where you come when gratitude feels too small a word, when all that is left is breath and the quiet certainty that you already live inside the sanctuary you were looking for. At the very back, where the fence meets the house, a single sculptural rock has been hollowed into a perfect bowl. Water rises from its center in a slow, continuous column before spilling over the edges and disappearing into a hidden grate. A visual loop that never begins and never ends. Around it, layers of tropical foliage create living walls of green that move with every breath of wind. This is the final secret. Peace is not something you arrive at once and keep. It is something you return to again and again, like water returning to stone. Sit here long enough and you understand, the garden was never outside you. It has been waiting patiently for you to come home to the quiet you already carry. That's all for today. Take a moment to breathe, to feel at home, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more peaceful inspirations from Sullivan.